Well, I figured now is as good a time as any to address a couple things on the lathe. This is my 13 by 40 Enco. One, you can see this is part of the reason why when I try to go up to 2,000 RPMs, it slips. You know, there's oil all over everything, and the belts are, obviously, you know, that one's way loose. And the other problem is that the contactor, it's actually the centrifugal switch, I believe, doesn't, oh, I got it unplugged, doesn't let it start all the time, and so I have to grab the chuck and move it. Well, when I'm using it at really low speeds, it's really hard to turn the chuck. So the contactor's on the back of the, not the contactor, but the rotary, the centrifugal switch is on the back of the motor. I'm going to have to take loose the chip pan, move it down to the other end to get enough room to get the pan off, or the cover off the end of the motor. I've had to do this before. I forgot I had to move the chip tray. I was hoping not to. I got the cover, the screws out, but I can't get the cover off. And so then once I get that stuff out of the way, it'll be more easy for me to reach the other side. I may move some stuff around in the back here so I can get back behind there easier, and then I'll see about changing these belts. Alright, there's the switch. See the weights there? Okay, what happens is when in this position, this switch puts the capacitor in the start circuit, and when it spins fast enough, these weights right here, okay, that they swing up and pull this disc with them, and so, oh, if I can do it here with the switch out of the way. Okay, see how it pops up, and so then that arm opens up the contacts. So we got to get in close enough to get to those contacts. There we go. Oh. I was looking to make sure they're not slotted screws and require some kind of adjustment. Slotted holes or whatever. I'm freaking sweating. God dang. I think the last time I broke a sweat's when I had lace-up shoes. Now I got Velcro. Yeah, not too pretty. Yeah, those should get replaced. But I don't have that option right now. Alright, that's the points file. At least it's the points file I have. I've had it since I was a kid. Simond, S-I-M-O-N-D, USA. So, seen better days, but basically the file's the same on both sides, and it's nice and flat and even. So you can pinch the contacts down and use that pressure between them to get them perfectly parallel, basically. And hopefully the pressure's the same, everything like that, so they get filed down the same amount. Now that one there is looking great. Yeah, that one's nearly toast. I think we're pretty much down to the rivets, so I just might have to see about finding one of these things. Alright, I wedged some folded over paper back there to hold the contacts up better under the pressure. So, Oh yeah, much more surface area now. Okay, once I get the heavy filing done, then I can take the paper back out and get maybe do a bit more of a fine tune. Okay, I got the first set of wires on there just to, and then I realized, oh, I might as well record it going back together. I just didn't want to tighten them up yet until I knew that everything was sitting the way it should. Those are connected, those are connected. This is just a wiring thing. I'm not going to worry about it, so I'm going to plug it in and turn it on and make sure it works. Alright, we have power. I should be able to just use the jog switch. See that arc? Well, let's finish putting it together. Let's see what it'll go here, up here. I want to clean up the fan a little bit. Not that I really need to. I want to clean it up a little bit and clean the cover up, and then we'll put it back on. Alright, everything's clear. I've been cleaning, this is the cleanest it's been probably ever. I'm not sure I cleaned it up this well when I first got it. It's not perfect, but I'm not tearing it down apart any more than I need to. I did pull this pulley off and clean this pulley and everything, partly because the screw was already loose, so did that. Then I found out that this pulley was loose. And the whole motor was this way another 1/4 inch. That turned out to be the washers back here on the bolts that hold the adjustment. They were tightened up and they were bent in at an angle, so I couldn't get it shoved back. You know, they had the curve to them, and so that created a pocket, and I couldn't get the frame back anymore, the mounting frame. So I had to take the washers out and hammer them flat and everything, and put them back in. And then I was able to get it over, and it's still about 1/8 of an inch out of alignment. I thought about possibly putting a spacer behind this to bring it over, but considering how much further it was out of alignment with the other belts, I think it's going to do just fine. So let's, we'll hit the jog button here. It's set up on 2,000 RPMs, and just to see what it looks like. One of these days it'd be nice to put a variable speed setup on here, VFD, and a 3-phase motor, but not going to happen anytime soon. I'll do that if I ever convert this to CNC. I don't really see that happening though. So another thing I did while I had it apart here, you see right over here these two holes, that's where the bracket used to mount, okay? And that meant in order to get this back splash shield off, I had to unmount the DRO every time, which kind of a pain in the butt. And there's other times where it would have been nice to take the back shield off to do some cleaning or do whatever. And I didn't, because it was such a pain in the butt to take this off, because I had non-captured screws on the back side here, and they were nylocks. So it's really, with the way I have it set up with the pegboard and everything behind it there, it's really kind of a pain in the butt to get the bolt out and still be able to reach around the back and hold that on. So what I did was I took about a 3/16 inch thick plate, might have been 1/4 inch. I wanted it thick enough to handle, hold the threads. And so I made a plate So the plate has 3 holes in it, 2 for the mounting of this bracket, and then I noticed that I had a big hole in the middle here. And I decided to go ahead and put a 3rd screw bolt right in there to hold that plate. So I got the plate all lined up and everything like that, and then crank that down tight. So I can now take this off without losing my threads. I basically have captured threads back there because of the plate is threaded. And then if you notice these little set screws here, once it's mounted up and that stuff, this thing was leaning a little bit. So I just loosen this bolt up, tighten that up a little bit, and then just, it really helps you get it all nice and leveled out and everything. So